Good morning, everyone. We are discussing chromatography. Up to now, we have discussed various techniques of chromatography techniques, which are paper chromatography, thin layer chromatography, column chromatography, ion exchange chromatography. In that ion exchange chromatography, cation ion exchange chromatography, and an ion exchange chromatography. Okay, now today we are going to learn about gas chromatography. So, new topic, that is gas chromatography. So, let's see what we are going to learn in this topic. So, objectives: introduction, one given school diagram, and then stationary phase, mobile phase, procedure and applications. Here, after diagram, uh, we are going to learn about the instruments. So, how instruments and their functions, and then so in that, this stationary phase, mobile phase, that comes under instruments and its functions, and then procedure. So that means procedure means how to execute the gas chromatography, and applications, procedure and detection. Actually, I supposed to write detection, then followed by applications. Okay, let's see the introduction. So what is gas chromatography? So these names implies that in this gas chromatography, our mobile phase is going to be gas. So that is known as carrier gas. That is also known as carrier gas. Okay. So gas chromatography differs from other form of chromatography in that the mobile phase is gas and the components are separated as vapors. So up to now we have separated components in solution phase. That means in liquid phase. But here two things have changed compared to previous techniques. One is, in previous techniques we have used liquid as a mobile phase, but in this technique we are going to use gas as a liquid phase, and then sample solution is in liquid state. But here the sample solution we are going to before introducing sample solution into the column, we vaporize that. Okay, next. It is thus used to separate and detect small molecular weight components in gaseous phase. So that means, so large molecular weight of components, it's somewhat it is very difficult to we can vaporize, but we need to maintain the more temperature. But in this technique, what we do, so we take less molecular weight of components which can be easily evaporated. Next, the sample is either a gas or liquid, that is vaporized. So that means our sample can be directly, it may be a gas. And for example, by using this technique, we can identify the pollutants present, air pollution. So in air pollution, the pollutants are are gases that exist in gas state. So here we can analyze the gases directly. We can analyze the gases, or if you want to analyze the liquids, you need to vaporize that liquids. Okay. Next, the mobile phase for gas chromatography is a carrier gas. So here carrier gas means here the mobile phase is gas state, but instead of that mobile phase, we are using a carrier gas. Okay, so typically helium. So frequently we use inert gases like helium, or else we can use nitrogen, oxygen, and other gases also we can use depending on the circumstances. But frequently we use helium. Okay. Why? Because of its low molecular weight and being chemically inert. So our carrier gas should not be chemically active. Chemically active means it's supposed to not form a chemical, participate in a chemical reaction with our sample as well as stationary phase. So that's why our carrier gas, or you can say mobile phase, should be inert, chemically inert in nature. Next, so how we run this gas? So just by applying the pressure. So by varying or by applying the pressure, we can introduce or we can run the gas through stationary phase. So here the stationary phase is column. Okay. So the pressure is applied and the mobile phase moves the analyte, move along the analyte through the column. So here what we are doing. So in previous experiment, previous techniques, first of all we have introduced the sample solution followed by mobile phase. But here we are introducing sample solution and mobile phase both separately, but simultaneously we pass our once we pass these two combinedly, we pass these two through the column. Okay. A stationary phase column is packed with finely divided solid or coated with what we say some thin layer liquids. with thin film layer liquids. So that means again this gas chromatography based on the physical state of stationary phase. It can be, and it can be gas solids chromatography, or it can be gas liquid chromatography. If our column is packed with finely divided solid, then it may be, or it may be referred as gas solid chromatography. If our column is coated, so with thin film layer of liquid, so this thin film layer of liquid is coated on a support. Okay, so first what we do, the column is filled with support, and that support we introduce this thin film layer of liquid. Okay, so if it's so, then that chromatography is known to be gas liquid chromatography. So depending on physical state of stationary phase, the gas chromatography is two types: gas solid chromatography, gas liquid chromatography, but frequently we use gas liquid chromatography. Okay, so this is about the introduction. Next, let's see the principle of gas chromatography. So as we know that this principle depends on the physical state of the stationary phase. If our stationary phase is a solid, then these are adsorption and desorption, or adsorption chromatography principle is applied. If our solid phase, our stationary phase is liquid, then partition chromatography principle is applied. Okay, so let's see the principle. The principle for gas chromatography is a partition and the components. So in the case of gas liquid chromatography, okay. Okay, the principle for gas chromatography, that means gas liquid chromatography, is partition, and the components of the sample will partition or distribute between two phases, that is stationary phase and mobile phase. Here the stationary phase is a liquid, thin film of liquid, and mobile phase is carrier gas. So the partition or distribution of component takes place between these two phases, that to be different extent. And compounds that have greater affinity towards or for the stationary phase spend more time in column, and thus elute later and have longer retention time than the samples that have higher affinity for the mobile phase. So that means here affinities of components towards two different phases are different extent. So that means some components show the greater affinity towards the stationary phase, and so such compounds are retained, or that may be held strongly by the stationary phase, so that they spend more time. So that is known as retention time, long retention time. So the component which has long retention time, so that will be separate slowly or lastly, or it takes more time, elute later, that means lastly. Okay, and the component which has the greater affinity towards the mobile phase means gas carrier. So then what happens? It may have less retention time, so that it may be elute or separated first. Affinity for stationary phase is driven mainly by the intermolecular attractions, and the polarity of the stationary phase can be chosen to maximize interaction and thus the separation. So that means here see affinity towards the stationary phase, that depends on the nature of stationary phase. If your stationary phase is polar in nature, then what happens? The polar components may be interacted, or maybe interaction is greater, so thereby they may have more retention time. Okay. Next, separation is hence accomplished by the partitioning the sample between the gas and the thin layer of the non-volatile liquid held on this solid support. So just now I told you. So gas chromatography means, so generally the gas chromatography is frequently referred as a gas liquid chromatography. Okay. So in this gas liquid chromatography, the separation is accomplished by the partitioning the sample between the gas and the non-volatile liquid. So that non-volatile liquid is or placed on support. Okay. The sample containing the solute is injected into a heated block, where it is immediately vaporized and swept as a plug of vapor by carrier gas stream into the column inlet. So then for how we introduce the sample? So we introduce the sample by injection. So and then the injection is a small amount of liquid or gases will be introduced into the heating chamber, where those are heated and those are vaporized, and those were vapors are entered into the mainstream through the plug, and there they meet, they meet, they couple with carrier gas. So thereby after that, the samples along with the carrier gas is introduced into the column. The solutes are absorbed by the stationary phase and then disobsorbed by the fresh carrier gas. So absorption and desorption, these, when we use these terms, whenever stationary phase or our column is filled with finally divided solid. Okay, the process is repeated in each plate as the sample is moved toward outlets. Okay. So to separate all the components, why? Because our mixture, our components may have different natures. Some are polar or some are non-polar. If our stationary phase, when we are using silica, then that is a polar. So polar components will be retain are having longer retention time. So to elude them, we need to introduce a polar. We repeat this process. So thereby we can elude these polar substances. Okay. So this process is repeated. Okay. Next principle. Okay. Each solute will travel at its own rate through the column. So depending on the affinities toward the stationary phase, and the solute which has less affinity toward the stationary phase, that will travel fast compared to the component which has more affinity or higher affinity than previous. Their bonds will be separated into the distinct zones depending on the partition coefficient and bond spreading. So that means here see the components may have different shows the different affinities towards the stationary phase. Thereby they travel some distance. So that means they will be separated into distinct zones. So those zones are generally known as bands. Okay, so that depends on the partition coefficient value. So the component which has more partition coefficient value, so it will be travel less distance, and the component which has the more partition coefficient, that will be travel more distance. Next, the solute are eluted one after another in the increasing order of their Kd value. So just now I told you. So the component which is first separated, that will have less increasing out of their Kd values. So increasing out of the less Kd value will be separated first, and then high Kd value. So that means the Kd, the partition coefficient of a component which is less. So that means that maybe have more affinity toward the mobile phase. Okay. Here they uh, here they registered a series of signals resulting from the concentration change and rates of elution on the recorder. Okay, so this is about the recorder. After separation, what happened? The component is recorded, and that will be we obtain a graph or what we say plot. Okay, in detector. The appearance time and height width area, these peaks can be measured to yield the quantitative data. So in quantitative analysis, so the gas chromatography can be used in qualitative as well as quantitative. In quantitative analysis, the amount of substance can be determined with the help of height width area. The area means surface area of the peak. Okay. So by means of this, so appearance time, that means retention time. So particularly we use this height, surface area, width, width and surface area. By means of these three, we identify the amount of substance, that to be in quantitative analysis. Okay, so let's see the diagram. So how it looks like. So it is a schematic diagram of gas chromatography. So this is gas carrier. So where it is a cylinder. In that cylinder, generally the cylinder is filled with inert gases like helium, or else we can use nitrogen when we need to separate, when we need more amount of carrier gas. So at that time, instead of helium, we go with nitrogen. So this is gas cylinder, and this gas cylinder is known as carrier gas cylinder, and this is regulated through which we can regulate the flow of gas. And this is injection. Through this injection only we introduce the sample, and this is heating port, injection port. Here we heat the sample, so thereby the sample is vaporized, and those vapors are introduced into the column. So both sample comes from here, and here mobile carrier gas. So both introduced simultaneously, and both will at once introduced enters into the column. So this is very important portion. This is column, and this column is, it is a coiled or U-shaped stainless steel tube or copper tube. So if you are using more temperature, this is actually thermostat, or you can say oven. So when we need to maintain the more temperature around 250 degrees centigrade, then we take the copper pipes, or else we generally we use stainless steel pipes. So these pipes are coiled pipes, are filled with In case of solid stationary phase, these coils are filled with finely divided silica gel or silica G. Silica gel nature is polar in nature. Silica G is non-polar in nature. Silica G means that silica is attached to a long chain alkane molecule, alkanes, so long chain carbon compounds. So thereby that silica becomes non-polar in nature. So this silica means polar stationary phase, silica G means non-polar stationary phase. So those two will be filled in this column, that to be in finally divided state. Okay. Now this through this what happens? Through this we pass the gas along with the components. So the components showing the different affinity towards the stationary phase. The component which has less Kd value, that means that have more affinity towards the stationary phase. So that will be comes out with carrier gas first, and then that will be introduced into the detector, and here we collect it is not waste, so here we collect that first sample and this detector. So that detector will detect the nature, and it will give a spectrum. So these are the peaks, so the height of the peak and width, this is width and area of surface area. By means of height and width of surface area of these peaks, we can um, identify the amount. Okay, so it will be coupled to the computer, so we will get this one. So this is schematic diagram of gas chromatography. So major parts are sample, column, carrier gas, and detector. These four are the very, very important instruments or parts. Okay, let's see the instruments and functions of. So just now it is cylinder. So cylinder means in cylinder the gas carrier gas are subjected to the high pressure, and this regulator, by means of regulator we can adjust the flow rates. Okay. So carrier gas in high pressure cylinder, kept in high pressure cylinder, and attendant pressure regulator and flows the meter. And here we frequently use hydrogen. This is H2, not H. So helium, nitrogen, hydrogen, argon are used as carrier gas. Helium is preferred for the thermal conductivity detectors because of its high thermal conductivity relative to the most organic vapors. Nitrogen is preferable when the large consumption of carrier gas is employed. And carrier gases, gas from the tank pass through the valve and flow meter and capillary restrictor. So this is the instrumentation. The flow rate is adjusted by means of needle valve mounted on the base of the flow meter and controlled by the capillary restrictor. So by means of regulator, we can adjust the flow rate of carrier gas. The operation efficiency of the gas chromatography is directly depends on the maintenance of the constant flow of gas. So that means we supposed to not fluctuate the flow rate of gas. So throughout our experiment, we need to be maintain a uniform gas flow rate. Okay, so gas flow rate influence the efficiency, directly proportional to the efficiency of the chromatograph. Next sample injection system. This is injection system. This portion is known as sample injection system. Okay, let's see. The liquid samples are injected by microsaline with a needle inserted through a self-scaling silicon rubber sputum into a heated metal block by resistant heater. So this one is the syringe, and through this syringe, we introduce a liquid state of components, and this is heating chamber where we heat. So when we heat this liquid, what happens? This liquid will be vaporizes, and these vapors are introduced through this valve. This is valve, and gas samples are injected by the gas tight syringe. Okay. Uh, so that means we no need to maintain this heating chamber. So directly we can introduce. Okay. Next, so this is sample volume. How much volume? 0.1 to 0.2 ml volume of sample is required. So very less amount of sample is required in this technique. Next, the third one is the separation column. So this is very, very important. So the separation column, which is made of with metal in U-bend shape or coiled, and open spiral or flatted pancake shape. Okay, so generally we use the coiled one, and copper is useful up to 200 degrees centigrade. So when we, so see, this column is placed in a oven. So if you want to maintain more temperature, so up to 250 degrees centigrade, so then these coils are uh, should be made up with copper. Savage lock fitting make column insertion easily. Okay, through this we introduce the stationary phase and this stationary phase, and several sizes of the columns are used depending upon the requirement. Okay, see, so liquid phase. Liquid phase means here we are using a thin liquid non-volatile film. Okay, so stationary phase, physical state of stationary phase. So if you are using silica or silica G, so that is solid phase. But here the liquid phase means here we are using a non-volatile, so non-polar, thin film layer of liquid. Okay. So an infinite variety of liquid phases are available, limited only by their volatility. And so volatility means the stationary phase should have less volatile in nature, and thermal stability. So that means the mobile phase nature should not undergo uh, that should withstand to high temperature. That means at high temperature it should not undergo any chemical changes, and no single phase will serve as a for all separation problems at the temperature. So all separate no single phase, so that means only one liquid nature one liquid cannot be used here. So here we generally want we while making thin film layer of a liquid, we need to use more than one sample. So for when we so see if our if our uh, phase is non-polar, so for non-polar in case of solid phase, so sorry, paraffin, so when we are using liquid stationary phase, so our liquid stationary phase is composed by a variety of components and the nature of these components. Here he mentioned the nature of components. For example, our liquid stationary phase is non-polar. So then we use paraffin, squalene, silicon grease, apizan, silicon gum rubber. These materials separate the components in order of their boiling points. So when we use this, then what happens? So the components are separated on the basis of their boiling points. So not the here the um, what we said, the principle is depends on the difference in the boiling points. On the basis of difference in the boiling points of components, these are separated. So generally a difference in the affinity towards the stationary mobile phase, so that is the principle. So when we are using non-polar liquid phase, that means paraffin or silicon grease or silicon gum rubber, so then these materials separate the components in order of their boiling points. Intermediate polarity. So these materials contain a polar or polarizable group on a long non-polar skeleton. So that means the liquid phase is contain both polar groups or polarizable groups on non-polar skeleton, which can dissolve both polar and non-polar solute. For example, diethyl hexyl phthalate is used for the separation of high boiling point of alcohols. So higher alcohols, for the separation of higher alcohols, we are supposed to use this one as a liquid phase. And polar carboaxis. So liquid phases with large proportion of polar groups. So separation of it is helpful in the separation of polar and non-polar substance. So hydrogen bonding. So polar liquid phases with high hydrogen bonding. Example glycerol. So glycerol, due to having hydroxy groups, it facilitates the formation of hydrogen bonding between the components and our stationary phase. So that is a liquid thin film, thin film layer of liquid. And next one, the specific purpose of phases, relying on the chemical reaction with the solute due to achieve the separation. Examples: silver nitrate in glycerol separate the unsaturated hydrocarbons. So that means these are the variety of liquid phases available uh, for us to incorporate in column. So supports means directly we cannot. So these columns cannot be filled with thin liquid film, thin liquid layers. So first they need to be coated with a support, and that support we can introduce or we can apply a thin film layer in case of liquid stationary phase. So that means the liquid phase stationary phase cannot be directly incorporated in column, so that can be incorporated on the surface of supports. Okay, so first the column should be filled with support, then only we can able to introduce our thin liquid film. So the supporters again, these are the requirements. So what we determine the efficiency and the degree of separation. So The structure and surface characteristic of the supporting support material are important parameters. Structure and surface characteristics. The support should be inert. So that means the support should not undergo the participate a chemical reaction with either with our stationary phase or our gas carrier or component. It should be uh, inert, and moreover it should be immobilizable. It cannot, it's supposed to, it cannot be moved, so it's supposed to adhere firmly on the surface of the column. Okay, and moreover it again it need to be absorb strongly the liquid thin film, and our liquid thin film should be immobilizable. Okay, our stationary phase should be immobilizable, as well as our support should be immobilizable. Okay, so here see, but capable of immobilizing the large volume of liquid phase as the thin film over its surface. The surface area should be large to ensure the rapid attainment of equilibrium between the stationary phase and mobile phase. If the surface area of the support is larger, then what happens? The equilibrium between the stationary phase and the mobile phase can be achieved or accomplished very soon, easily. Support should be strong enough to restrict the breakdown in handling and be capable of packed into the uniform bed. So it should be strong enough to resist the breakdown. So breakdown means when we are applying the more temperature, it should not be breakdown. It should not be breakdown. So, and moreover, while we are applying, we supposed to apply the uniform continuous thin film over the inside of the column. Okay. Next, the articles were get treated with, okay, so these are the common factors. And next, after that, once the, so here, come to this one. So from here, we are introducing the carrier gas, and from here, we are introducing sample, and these two are passed, are introduced into the column. So once these are traveled this distance, from this point to this point, then they entered into the detector, where the nature of the substance is identified. Okay, detector sends the arrival of the separated components and provide a signal. So signal means the graph peaks. These are either concentration dependent or mass dependent. So concentration dependent in the sense um, qualitative analysis, and mass dependent. This concentration dependent means quantitative analysis, and mass dependent qualitative analysis. The detector should be closer to the column exist and the correct temperature to prevent the decomposition. So that means the detector we need to maintain appropriate temperature to the temperature our components should be withstand. So if the temperature of the detector is more, then what happens? The component which is separated, it may undergo decomposition at that temperature. So we may get different interpretation. Okay, next recorder. So recorder generally coupled to a detector. In that recorder, what we do, we can get the what graphs. Okay, the recorder should be generally 10 millivolts full scale, fitted with a fast response pen. The recorder should be connected with a series of good quality resistance connected across input attendance. Okay, this is the common. Okay, next the procedure. How we can execute this experiment. So to execute this experiment, so for steps, what steps are involved? So first what we do, so first sample injection and vaporization. So just now we have discussed it in and the instrumentation and its function. So the small amount of liquid sample is analyzed, is drawn into a syringe. So first what we do, the liquid phase of the liquid phase of mixture, that to be little amount of mixture in liquid phase that will be to be analyzed, that can be taken into the syringe. The syringe needle is positioned in hot injection port. So the next part is that injection should be connected to the hot port, where hot port of the gas chromatography chamber, and the sample is injected quickly. So that means this needle is directly, so see, this is the position. So if you look at this, so this is the syringe, this is the needle. So this needle is directly attached to the collar. Okay, through this heart chamber. So what is the use of heart chamber? Just now I told you. So in this technique, we introduce the sample in vapor state. So to achieve vapor state, so it is supposed to subject to temperature and heating. So thereby the liquid components present in that syringe, syringe will be what vaporizes, and those vapors are introduced into the column. Okay. The next sample is considered to be a point in time, and that is, it is assumed that the entire sample enters the gas chromatography at the same time. So at once the sample should be injected. So the sample should be injected very quickly, spontaneously, whole sample. Okay, but not by what we say installed. So at once we need to be inject the sample. Okay, so that's what we generally take. How much? A small amount of sample, that to be, in previous slide it mentioned that the amount of sample should be 0.1 ml to 0.2 ml, and the temperature is said to be higher than the boiling points of the components of the mixture, so that components will be vaporized. So again the temperature should be maintained, because the liquid, we supposed to not introduce the liquid state of sample, so we need to be introduced what vapor state of sample. So to achieve the vapor state, we need to be heat vaporized components then mix with the inert gas mobile phase. So here, so when we introduce the sample in vapor state, that will be mixed with whom? Carrier gas, and along with carrier gas those enters into the column. Okay, and next one, step 2. So here we introduce the sample as well as carrier gas, both we introduce in step 1. In step 2, separation in the column. So now the both enters into the column. Both means the carrier gas as well as our sample in vapor state. The components in the mixture are separated based on their ability to absorb or bind, absorb on or bind to stationary phase. A component that absorbs more strongly to the stationary phase will spend the most time. So that means most time means its KD value, partition coefficient value, is higher. So if partition coefficient value is higher, then its retention time is more. Okay, therefore I have the longest retention time. It will emerge from the gas chromatography lastly. So it may be elute lastly. So the components are separated, increasing order of their partition coefficient value. So that means the component which has less partition coefficient value, it will be elute first. So partition coefficient, how, what is partition coefficient? It is the ratio of the component, the ratio of the concentration of component in stationary phase to the mobile phase. So if the KD value is less, that means that is that has more affinity towards mobile phase and less affinity towards the stationary phase, so that it KD value is less. If KD value is more, means the concentration of that component is more in stationary phase compared to mobile phase, so thereby the KD value comes higher. So higher KD values has more affinity towards the stationary phase, and low or less KD value of components shows the greater affinity towards the mobile phase. So the components which shows the greater affinity towards the mobile phase, those will be elute first. Or in another word or other terms, we can say that the components are elute on the basis of increasing order of their partition coefficient values. Okay, so these are repeated points. A component, uh, so see, a component that absorbs least strongly to the stationary phase will spend the least time in the column, will retain in the column for the shorter time, and will therefore have the shortest retention time. It will emerge, that means elute comes out from the gas chromatography first. If you consider here he given, he explained in with example, he explained with example. In that example, he has taken the two components, and A is more polar than B. So here, since our stationary phase is polar, then what happens? The polar component will have more partition coefficient value, so thereby it may have more uh, retention time. So it will come out last, elite. The component A will have longer retention time in polar column. So that means our column stationary phase is polar. So the component A is more polar. So polar components may have good interactions. So due to that, it may have more KD value. So column than the component B. And so B compared to B, B compared to A, that has less polar, so that's why it may have less retention time or shorter retention time in. So in case of non-polar, so here see, our column is non-polar. At that time, what happens? This non-polar, less polar, that is B, will have more retention time than A. Got it? So dissolve like dissolve. Dissolve like dissolve means polar, polar, non-polar, non-polar. So polar column will have more interaction with polar component. So thereby it may have more KD value, more retention value. And component A will have shorter retention time in a non-polar column than the component B. Okay. Okay. So by this manner we uh, once the components are separated, those will be entered into the detector where they will be detected, and in recorder the graph is records. Okay, next let's see the application. So this is about the gas chromatography working principle in diagram, instrumentation, functions of instruments, and procedure. Next, applications. So where we use this gas chromatography. So gas chromatography can be used in qualitative analysis as well as in quantitative analysis. In qualitative analysis, generally we separate and identify the nature as well as chemical formula of the compound. So it is useful for the detection of high boiling point samples. So generally, high boiling point of samples can be identified uh, through this gas chromatography. To check the purity of organic compounds, so we can check the purity of the organic. To check the air quality, so the major advantage of this chromatography is we can introduce the gaseous sample also. So in previous techniques, we have introduced we have taken the solid compound sample, and then that is dissolved in suitable solvent. But here in this technique, directly we can use any gas. That means, for example, we can check the air quality. The pollutants present in air are so in gaseous state, so directly we can introduce the gases into the column, so thereby we can analyze the component present in gas. So to check the air quality means if the air pollutants are present in air, then the chromatogram contain more height of peaks. So that no, in earlier slide, in previous slides we discussed that quantitative measurements are qualitative, particularly in quantitative, uh, with the help of height, width, and surface area of the peaks, we can easily identify the amount. So here also, if our fresh air, if you compare the chromatograph GC, if you compare the chromatograph of fresh air taken by the GC with the chromatogram of air pollutants, so we can come if we compare both two, then the air pollutant in the chromatogram peaks of the chromatogram of air pollutant will have higher heights than fresh air. Next, quantitative analysis. So here also, by means of height and height of the peak and surface area of the peak, we can measure we can identify the amount of substance. So generally, we use this technique in the while what we say drug trials, particularly in medical field, drug level present in blood plasma. Drug levels present in blood plasma can be detected by using this gas chromatography. And next, okay, applications. Okay, let's say the advantages and limitations. Okay, see the advantages: higher velocity of carrier gas permits the fast separation of matter. So how we can regulate the flow rate of carrier gas by means of regulator. So velocity by applying the pressure, uh, we can increase the velocity of carrier gas. So here separation of component will be taking place within few minutes. Higher working temperature up to 5000 degrees centigrade, and is possible to converting any material into the volatile components, make gas chromatography one of the most versatile components. So that means only volatile substances can be detected. So one of the major demerit is non-volatile substances cannot be detected. Why? Because they cannot be vaporizers. Okay. Gas chromatography is popular for environmental monitoring. So just now I told you, monitoring the air quality, because it is very reliable and can be run nearly continuously. Gas chromatography is typically used in application where small volatile molecules are detected and non-aqueous solutions. Just only volatile can be detected. Gas chromatography is favored for non-polar molecules. Okay, where in the case of polar molecules, then we can go for ion exchange chromatography. If non-polar molecules, then we non-polar molecules have less boiling points, and that means those are volatile in nature, and those can be easily converted into vaporize. So we can get the information of those non-polar molecules. That means limitation. The compounds can be analyzed should be stable under the gas condition operation. So that means this generally this instrument is operated at higher temperature. So if our components may not withstand to that much of temperature, then what happens, the chemical nature, they may undergo chemical change. So due to that, we may get wrong interpretation. Okay, they should have vapor pressure significantly greater than zero. Should have vapor pressure significantly greater than zero. So why? Because we are our mobile phase is carrier gas, and our sample again we are passing our introducing the sample in vapor phase. So when we are using these two gases, so then the pressure vapor pressure should be greater than zero. Otherwise, we cannot separate this. Typically, the compound analyzed are less than 1000 A, that is pressure, because of it's difficult to vaporize larger components. The samples are also required to be salt free. So that should not have any salts, and they should not contain ions. Salt means salt contains what? Salts are consist of ions. Okay. A very minute amount of substance can be measured, but it is often required that the sample must be measured in composition in comparison to the sample containing pure suspected substance known as a reference standard. Okay, so these are about limitations. Okay, so after now we have discussed about uh, gas chromatography, introduction, principle, diagram, instruments and their function, procedure, that means execution, then application, limitations, advantages and limitation. I hope you understood this. Okay, thank you.